Shoot. All right. So yeah, we live now. So
Yes, sir.
let's see. Let's talk about this Roy Jones first. We're gonna see if some people come up in here. I know they want to hear about their favorite fighter. Shoot. Is it still raining where you at?
It was drizzling on and off a little something. It's coming down over there.
It's been coming down like off and on, but right now it's kind of died down.
Yeah.
All right, man. So if you want, we can go ahead and get started too, man. Because I know some people they'll probably go back and watch it. So
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting on you, Aunt.
okay.
I was waiting for you to take the lead, my brother.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I was just letting you know I'm about to start now. So yeah, we live here on the Jab Effect. As you know, my name's Ant with my partner P.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing today?
We're here just chilling. We're just doing this little live discussion. We want to talk about one of our favorite pound for pound fighters. He's about to be calling it quits, and it's a little bit different, man. Most farewell fights you think they would be on like a Friday or Saturday, but it's two things, man. Roy Jones, his last fight is taking place on a Thursday night on UFC Fight Pass at 7:30 p.m. man. Against Scott Sigmon. Um, I'm not too familiar with this opponent. The most I've heard about him was he's fought Kelly Pavlik in the past. He used to be a middleweight, but he's actually moving all the way up to cruiserweight to face Roy Jones. Uh, so really, what's your take, man? Are you just kind of glad to see Roy calling it quits now, man?
That's what I was about to say, Aunt. You forgot to mention that. First and foremost for me, anyway. We just happy to see Roy finally getting to the point where he's comfortable
Mm-hmm.
and and just letting it go, man. We've been waiting for a while.
Shit, man.
No disrespect to him. We understand it. We get it, man. But we just in the eyes of the fans, it's been time for the last few years for him to go ahead and walk off into the sunset. And so on that note, I'm happy for him. But it's definitely weird, man, that this is on, he's hooked up with the UFC for his final fight. It's like out of the blue, out of left field. How do you think that's gonna impact like the viewers or who watches the fight? I mean, because MMA fans aren't necessarily known as boxing fans.
Right.
MMA guys aren't necessarily known as, boxing fans.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, eh?
Yeah, it's true. It's because, like we were talking about earlier, most hardcore boxing fans, I feel like they're kind of going to miss out on it because they either don't know about it because they don't watch UFC, right, or if they do, still follow Roy, they might kind of feel like, man, why is he? They might just read it and say, why is he over here on the MMA card? I ain't paying attention to this,
Right.
And then third, they might be like, shit, Thursday night, I didn't even hear about it, so they might just feel like, hey, I missed it. By the time they hear about it, it's gonna be already past. So I guess there might be kind of more of an angle to it, I guess he's kind of capitalizing on the boxing MMA crossover, ever since Mayweather McGregor fight. So maybe he's kind of seeing this as this is his chance to kind of, indulge into that MMA world, maybe as far as promoting,
I mean, possibly, Ant, but I think it's more of the Petita brothers and Dana White trying to get their grubby paws into, it's benefiting them the most out of anybody.
Yeah.
Some type of way. I'm not 100% sure how, but I mean, I guess it's not a total bad look for Roy because that is a platform. I mean, but a platform with a different audience. But those guys got something up their sleeve, and they didn't wheeled and dealed and finagled something out the deal. That.
Oh yeah. Because especially Dana. I mean, like we were saying, he knows how much Floyd made out of using one of his fighters. So he's trying to do the same thing by trying to get his hands in the whole boxing world now, and
yeah.
I don't know how that's going to pick up. I don't really think people are going to pick up on that because I just feel like, the hardcore boxing fans, they're boxing fans. They don't really want to see anything to do with MMA near the boxing ring,
Exactly.
See, me and you, like you said before, we're fans of MMA, not really diehard fans, but we respect that sport and we know it's a separate entity,
Absolutely.
It's its own world. I guess with Roy, he, like I said, he might be, I still kind of feel like that too. He might be trying to get into that world as far as promotion. I just find it weird though, man. Like he couldn't get a last fight on like HBO or nothing, It was
or one of those networks didn't want to hop on that and say, hey man, let's give him his swan song, you know what I mean, so to speak. Let's give him a proper farewell. But I don't know, man. For him to have to go that UFC route, very interesting, man.
It is. It is because you remember, like, half of majority of his highlights are on HBO. So it's like, why don't we bring him back for one last time? Because this is supposedly supposed to be the last time we see him. So you would think they want to get him in the ring.
Yeah.
But
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Still there commentating. But let's talk a little bit about his opponent, man.
I don't know nothing about him, man.
That's the thing. Like, like I guess let's talk about his choice of opponent. Like, do you think he could have found like somebody a little bit more credible to fight just to say farewell to? Because to me, this is just kind of like many of his past 6, 7 fights where I don't really know I really don't know any of these guys. It's just kind of like it just happens.
I feel you 1,000%. But the sad part about it is some of these guys we never heard of wind up knocking him out, and it's just like, on your farewell, do you really want to risk that? You know what I'm saying? That that might give him a reason to want to come back. I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, we know that all you gotta really do is just touch Roy Chin right now, and I'm no disrespect, intended at all. I hate saying it, but it is, ain't? It's just the way it is. You don't think so?
I think to a certain extent it is, because it's. I mean, you just going back and looking at the evidence. It's not like you're making it up. You're actually looking at the past fight. So,
of course, we would want to see him in something with a little bit more, bang behind it. But it's dangerous at this stage in his career. You know what I mean? I'd rather see him do this and go out with a victory of some sort, knockout, stoppage, or decision. And maybe he can just, leave it alone, man, as opposed to going in here and getting clipped. And you know what I mean? I don't know, wanting to come back. I don't know.
I think too, like at the beginning, like we say, this is. I didn't even really think of it that way. Now, just to say, I'm really glad he's done. I guess it's not like the excitement isn't there because it just feels like he should have been done. He should have been done. That's why any type of flame where I'm trying to see him in a farewell fight now, it's just kind of past, because I think any type of level the skill we used to see him on has already kind of died down. So it's kind of just like, let's just. I'm kind of in a mindset of let's just get it over with. Yeah. I think his biggest opponent in the past 3 years that kind of would have been a good bang, would have been a fight where he could have just gone out with a bang, is that Enzo Maccarinelli. And he wound up, knocking Roy out.
I know. I was just about to say, I mean, Enzo wound up, that's what I'm saying. That did he want to risk that again at this stage? I mean, mind you, Roy pushing 50. I mean, he even with skills, he's a 50-year-old man. You know what I'm saying? Even if he still, you can't overlook that fact either. But
because granted, B-Hop, he's went years and years in the game. He's had that, superb defense and all of that. But even him, when he stepped in the ring against Joe Smith Jr., somebody who couldn't have beat him maybe 5 years ago, wind up knocking him out the ring.
Absolutely.
So age definitely plays a factor in there.
You're talking about a B-Hop, a guy who's never been stopped. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Never been stopped. So it's just that thing. And this I want to ask you about this though. Like, I'm sure Roy going to the Hall of Fame, but like, what does the latter part of his career do to his legacy in your eyes?
Man, it's so hard, because I can tell you this, that whenever he suffered those first 2 losses to Tarver and Johnson, I still held him as one of the best fighters in the world, who just had his moment, like kind of like Ali. He went out, losses against Larry Holmes and Trevor Burbett, and it was kind of like from there he knew he had to stop. But with Roy, he's just done so much after his prime career. Me being a hardcore follower, you can't help but see those fights all the time. You can't help but always see him on the canvas, and that's coming from somebody, like I said, a big fan and followed him inside and outside the ring. So it's kind of like you feel like you've been so close to him. You feel like a family member, like you telling him to stop. And when he don't stop, you're kind of like, well, I told you it was going to happen, but you didn't want to stop. Now look what you're doing to your legacy. You know what I mean? So to me, to a certain extent, what he's been doing after those knockout losses and racking up more losses, it kind of affects it in my eyes. It doesn't affect what he's done, in the past. You can't take away his accomplishments, but like I said, in my eyes, I still see those losses. You can't help it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I mean, the thing about it, and is like, I mean, the way he was losing the knockouts, it's not just like, all right, he just kept coming up short point wise, you know what I mean? Just Roy got a highlight reel of knockouts, on his own. You know what I'm saying? As much as we, hate to say something like that, but all us, like in his latter career, had he just stopped early, or at that point, that Tarver, that Johnson point, I mean, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. We still be, debating about where he did rank up with the greats. You know what I'm saying? So it just sucks in that way. You know what I mean? Because we can't just act like we didn't see his latter career.
Yeah, exactly. You can't because it still counts. It all still counts.
Like, that didn't. Yeah, exactly. It still counts the same way. If he had went out there and was winning, it would count. So it has to count when he went out there and lost. I mean, that's just the way it goes. It's unfortunate, but it's the way it goes. But
because too, like whenever a fighter loses one thing, he finds another way to win. He's able to pull something out that he's never done before, to pull out a win. Like, I can't help but look back at the Joe Calzaghe fight. As much I hated that fight for him. It was like I had Roy winning all day. You know what I mean? As far as like my pick, because I was just like, he's going to do something he's never done before to win this fight. But when he couldn't do what he done in the past, the next 11 rounds after that knockdown he scored against Calzaghe, it was like he couldn't do anything else,
Yeah. And mind you, even when I watched that fight, I had been a Calzaghe fan, and through just watching him earn that, earn me being a fan of him. I didn't just give it to him. I watched this white guy, these fast hands, not a lot of power, work his way. I mean, yeah, he fought most of his fights over in the UK or whatever, but he still was undefeated. He still came over to the States and put on some decent performances. So I was a fan, but I didn't think we were going to see what we saw that night when he fought Roy. You know what I mean? I still thought Roy had enough to, you know what I'm saying, get the guy out of there. But to see, like I told you before, I don't remember seeing Roy bleeding before.
Yeah,
but see that fight in a guy like Joe Calzaghe, who don't even hit hard, to have him busted all up like that, it was hard to watch, man. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. Just seeing, Roy. I mean, not just a little cut. I mean, his face was covered. He was blood everywhere.
Yeah.
But it was just one of them things, man, where he definitely had lost a lot of what he had. You know what I mean? And it wasn't the same Roy.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was obvious. It was like I guess my question about that is, when you say we were waiting to see, Roy do something in that fight, since he depended on so many of the things like the speed and the power, did he forget how to use that, whatever it was that you got to pull out and use?
I mean, that could be very well, like they say, you what they say, how the saying go, you use it, you lose it, you use it.
Yeah, you don't use it, you lose it. Yeah,
you don't use it, you lose it. So you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
he hadn't had to depend on those things in so long that, I mean, when it was time to, that well might have been empty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, he was so gifted and naturally gifted and athletic. You know what I mean? That it helped him bypass having to depend on a lot of those fundamentals that most guys, you know, build their game on. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah, yeah. That's why I guess at this point, a lot of people like me and you, we just kind of like we just want to see him make it out of this fight. As like make it out of this fight with his win and ride off in the sunset. We're not really looking for him to do anything spectacular,
not at all.
you know.
Not at all. Get out of the ring and run,
Right.
boy. That's all we want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, that's no disrespect. That's just saying, looking out for your well being.
Yeah.
That's just some guys who watch boxing and say, we know when it's time to get out. We watch it so long, we can say, hey, we know when it's time for you to leave.
Right, right. And I mean, and I mean, it's time for him to leave for obvious reasons. But the thing is, I mean, Roy, you prove you nothing left to prove.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. You know, we're not talking about a guy who with Bernard Hopkins. I mean, you know, he was trying to get those big paydays. You know, the second half of his career, we understood. You know, but you know, Roy, you had a different career. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I really think that he don't have he hadn't had nothing to prove in a long time, man.
No, he didn't. Like even after those first two losses, like to me, he didn't have to come back and prove anything. It was people. A lot of people were like, "Hey, you didn't have it anymore, so you could leave." I mean, it's like Tarver couldn't have beat you in your best days. Glenn Johnson couldn't have beat you in your best days. So we're like, we understand that
Right.
you've reached that age.
Because even think about it, and those probably were the last two fights that he was maybe still kind of dangerous in. After that, it was just, you know, even though he won a few here, you know, in between here and there, but he wasn't dangerous anymore. You know, the Tarver
Mm-hmm.
and the Glenn Johnson fight was probably, you know, it just was probably a good time for him probably to leave the sport. I had to be honest. You know what I mean? Yeah, went all the way up in weight, came back down. It was nothing else to prove. It's nothing else to prove, man.
No, man, that's what they say. Like when you reach the mountaintop, you want to stay there because there's only from there. There's only
Damn.
you can only go down. Yeah, yeah. And going back to the question you asked me again too about his legacy after those two losses. I, and me and you, our generation, we be a little bit nicer about it. But we go back to my dad's generation, the older, they'll be more harsh until they can be more harsh about it and say, "Hey, you couldn't do what you did even at that age." Then they'll take it away from you. You know what I mean? They're harsher critics because
Yeah,
they're older and they know what it takes to be good, and they know that generation before them.
they held the fighters to a high standard. You
Yeah,
know what I
like if you talk to my dad and I ask him, he'll be a little bit harsher because, like I said, he's from the Ali generation, the Sugar Ray Robinsons, all of them. He's seen all of them fighters before him, and he knows what they had to go through, how many rounds they fought. So he's kind of he'll put Roy in that category, in that category, and if you can't match up to them, then yeah, he'll be a harsher critic.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, I mean, people, it's going to be people out there that's like that, and they very well have the right to, you know, have that opinion. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because you know, everybody looks at things different. I mean, some people really might, you know, people always say, "Oh, Roy, all he fought was cab drivers. He ducked this person. He ducked that." People got bad stuff to say about him, man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything per se to say anything bad, but people do have. I have heard bad things about Roy. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
so you know, it is people that have a different opinion of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people say, "Oh, he was never fundamentally sound boxer. He, just depending on his a lot of things that I hear about him or whatever. That to me it doesn't matter because he still went to the top with or
With
without
what
the
he
stuff that they said he had. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that never bothered me. It was just kind of the part whenever you have to use something, pulling out the intangibles, being able to do what you show the warrior heart when you lose something. That was my part. That was my big part. That question that came in, like, when you slow down, are you going to find another way to win?
And see, that goes back to why you have to know the fundamentals, Ant.
Yeah.
It's like anything. You got to know how to count. You got to know how to, you know what I mean? You have to.
Like, if
Can't
you don't have
count.
a calculator at your advantage, you better know how to do the math,
Yeah.
in your head.
So when it was time for him to really go back to those fundamentals, some things that he could have done to, like when Floyd Mayweather got rocked by Shane Mosley, he went back to the fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
Walk him down. You know what I'm saying? Walk him down. Walk him down. Just walk him down. You know what I mean? He didn't fold under that. He could have folded and got finished in that fight. But he regained his composure and won every round after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the same thing with like Roy, I mean, the thing about some of those first two knockouts, it was just like it wasn't he was hurt. He just got knocked out. It was just a punch. You know what I mean? It was just like they just had his number, and I don't think it's nothing you could do about somebody that got your number.
Yeah, like I said, when those two fights happened, it was just like, okay, it happened because in a way he was not damaged goods at the time, but he was more of a sitting target. They knew his legs were gone. They seen the weaknesses where all I got to do was pressure him. And though it just so happened they landed those punches right on the button, and they were able to capitalize on that. But anything after that, it was kind of like everybody was just kind of taking advantage of damaged goods,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just looking at Roy's record too now. It would be kind of hard not to judge his legacy now because he has fought like 20 times since then, over 20 times. So,
how can you just take 20 fights off a guy's record? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Can't, eh?
Yeah, because at least in some of those 20 fights, you wanted to see like the old Roy back. But in those past 20 fights since his knockout losses, like you haven't really seen any glimpse of his old self, or you haven't really seen like a solid reinvention of him,
Yeah, sad to say.
Yeah.
I mean, and which was a big task to fill. I mean, this man is close to 50 years old, I think. And what, 48, 49, something like that. Or he might be 50. It's not like the times of, for all the, time is going back. You're getting older. On top of sustaining damage. You know what I'm saying? That I mean, it's an older man sustaining knockouts now. You're not talking about a 21-year-old man. It's an older man, which is, I would think, is more dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's 49 now, so maybe like in those past few years, if he was like 45 or something, you think he would have been more coming up with a more defensive style where he's not going to try to imitate what he used to do just to be on the safer side, Like that would have been kind of groundbreaking if he would have came back with something different like that.
And I mean, it's kind of like the Floyd Mayweather. He learned a different style once he realized he had to switch it up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's another testament to his greatness. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody can't do that, as we can see. I mean, Roy, he is like, he was caught up on, man, I still got this. I'm still me. I still can do this. And you couldn't do it no more. It seems like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And now we bring up Floyd. This was something Roy recently said in his interview leading up to his fight Thursday. He said that, Floyd Mayweather, he was the best at making money, but he felt he was the better boxer. What do you think about that?
I have to really beg to differ because, you know, I mean, this man went on to his 40, you know, be 40 and still be competing, still not losing, still really fighting top level guys. He didn't take the punishment Roy Jones took. I mean, it's not even really up for debate, to be honest, man. It's not even really up for debate. I mean, you just look at the career path, the money. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, Roy did go up to heavyweight. You know what I mean? Floyd went up 5, 6 weight classes or whatever. But when you look at the damage Roy sustained, the money he made or didn't make, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to compare. I mean, Floyd can walk away right now. All his faculties, financially sound. You know, Roy got to fight this Saturday. I'm not saying he has to fight, but he has a fight coming up this Saturday, and that's just like, why would you do that if you, you know, I don't, you know, I mean, we won't see Floyd fighting at 50. I promise you that.
No, you won't.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I promise you that.
Yeah, you won't. And so do you think if Roy would have retired after those 2 losses, do you think it would have been more hard? You think it would have been harder to not say Roy was a better boxer then?
I mean, it would have been up for more debate.
It would be, yeah, it'd been more debatable.
Yeah, more debatable than it is now. I mean, it's like, you know, Floyd Mayweather, like I said, and he had a different style the beginning of his career. Then once his legs start giving him problems, he adapted another style, which took him even further. I mean, you have to respect that and kind of marvel at it because look what Roy did, you know? I mean,
not even just his legs, but his hands. You know, Floyd always had brittle hands, and he still was able to win with brittle hands. You know,
being an older man, you know, losing the mobility he used to have, always having problems with his hands, he still, you know, was able to walk away undefeated. You know what I mean? So, Roy, that's a hard battle for you right there.
Yeah,
And it's a hard battle for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just on something to me, the damage, Roy, because if you wind up getting Parkinson's because you got knocked out all them times, how are you the better boxer?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, Floyd was defensive. It didn't take the punishment. To me, that's the better boxer. The better boxer now, the more entertaining boxer, yeah, of course, Roy, hands down. Hands down, Roy, the more entertaining boxer. But the better boxer is hit and not be hit. That's the sweet science, man. That's the better boxer to me.
Yeah. That's how I see it, man.
Yeah, to me, and making more money. But with that style, I'm making money with a safe style. I mean, that's a no-brainer, dude. No-brainer.
Yeah. Because back in the day, like up to that point, you know, whenever Floyd used to be saying he was a better pound for pound fighter, I would argue all day, say, nah, you can't match Roy. Like, you know, Roy's done all of these crazy, you know, phenomenal things in the ring. But as time went on, the more and more I watched Floyd and just compared him to all these other fighters, it was like there's something big in there that a lot of these fighters forget is that mental game, you know?
Yeah.
It's all about you, man. You got to win. You got to win because at the end of the day, you know, nobody else is going to take care of you but you. You know, that's why you can't always please fans, man. You got to please yourself when you're getting in there. You got to take care of your own self.
Absolutely.
And that's a more and more I've learned from Floyd. From Roy, you know, like I said, I used to learn those same things, but like it was like more and more, the more and more he stays in this game, it's like just, you know, putting more hurt on himself. And I can't help but compare that to Floyd. And then after that, when I look at Floyd, I'm just kind of like, man, Floyd's just kind of beat you now as far as being the most impressive fighter, you know?
Yeah. And the thing about it, and I even hate to do that, compare these fighters from kind of different, because Roy, to be honest, it's apples and oranges. You and Floyd Mayweather were both boxers, but you were a bigger guy. You had different accomplishments. He had different accomplishments being the small. It's just two different things, man. You know, I don't even want to compare because I mean they in two different realms, really. You know what I mean? Roy Jones was the showman. He was the flashy style. He was the, knockout artist. He was a different thing than Floyd was to me, honestly. You know what I mean? Roy wasn't. I mean, I know he had to have some high ring IQ, but it wasn't about. He didn't use it the same way Floyd Mayweather does to me. Floyd Mayweather uses his ring IQ to know every inch of the ring. He knows where you're at all times, know where he's at. Oh, you know what I mean? He's like really laying the blueprint with this information, and Roy was just like painting the picture with the information. You know, he just in there painting the picture. You know what I mean? It's to me, it's just two different things. It honestly will be hard for me to compare. You know, when you say
I guess
a boxer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess for me, when you put it like that, I guess Roy, he was more like, artist, and they're painting this picture, this abstract picture that you never seen. Whereas Floyd, he was like an art teacher. He's like a teacher teaching you art, you know. Two different things, you know.
Two different things, man. Two different things. You know what I mean? Roy had God-given talent. Floyd had God-given talent, but they were both two different sets of talents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, Roy had that athleticism, that speed, that punch intuition. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this dude was just doing crazy shit in the ring. I mean, stuff that we had never seen before. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Stuff we never seen before, you know, and to me, as Floyd got older and he incorporated that, older style, that was more pleasing for me to watch, to see him setting traps, to see him in there just thinking and doing all this stuff, not even really having to work hard. He got the other guy working hard and doing all this stuff because he out thinking the guy. You know what I mean? Right. That's interesting for me to watch this guy competing at this level, but came up with a strategy to take it easy in there. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Yeah. Because when you think about it, it's just like, okay, he had to come up with a strategy for a very high, that can be a very high intense sport, but at the same time, Floyd was able to be something just, he had to be one step ahead, mentally.
Right.
All the time, and that's the thing. A lot of people forget, it's a big mental part. So he's making it look easy, but it's not easy to make it look easy.
Nah, not at all, man. Not at all.
But yeah, man, this fight, Roy Jones fight, like I said, it's on UFC Fight Pass. Starts at 8:30. Have you ever ordered anything off of there before?
I never have, man.
Because I kind of get confused with some of their events, like some are on Fox Sports and some are pay-per-view, and I'm guessing UFC Fight Pass is just on that. It's online. You have to stream it.
Oh. Yeah, I ain't really sure how that's working, but if it's online and you can stream it, that'll be cool.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, there's really not much to say about his opponent. Like I said, his opponent used to be a middleweight. And let's see. I said he fought Kelly Pavlik before. He actually faced what's his name? Jay Leon Love.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Jay Leon Love knocked him out. Or I don't think he knocked him out, but he beat him before. Yeah.
Kelly Pavlik knocked him out.
Yeah, Kelly Pavlik knocked him out though. Yeah. Kelly Pavlik was a force whenever he was knocking people out.
Yeah, in his day, he was knocking people out.
Shoot. But yeah, for real though, man. I guess I'm just want to say, yeah. For me, it's just like, yeah, this is time, man. This is it. is this his farewell fight? Then I hope it really is. I hope it truly is, man.
Yeah.
I hope he wins, but like win or lose, I hope this is it. So.
And I'm sure it's a lot of other fans out there that feel the same way. And you know what I'm saying? We got so much respect for this guy that we really just want to see him chilling, man.
Yeah,
We
like
don't want to see you in no training camps and all. We don't want to see that, Roy. Just you deserve to be chilling right now. Put your time in. You're in the Hall of Fame.
That's
So
that's what we want to see him doing. Because every time I hear that he's still fighting, I'm like, damn man, why? That's my own question. So why? And then when you wind up losing, I'm like, you know better. you got to know better than that now. So, like I said, it ain't to bash nobody. It's just telling the truth, man.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I'm sure it ain't the first time he heard it. I'm sure he got a wife and kids and a whole bunch of people that's close to him that love him, and I know they gotta be, happy that this is his last fight. So, you know what I mean? Like we say, hopefully he goes out with a win and he can just ride off into the sunset, man. I mean, us being fight fans, and we want to see everybody go out with a win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Everybody wants to see, their favorite fighter go out to win.
Go out with a win, man. If you didn't dedicate your life to the sport, your last fight, they should just fix it for you. I'm just playing, but no, you deserve to go out on a win and had that last memory of you a good memory. You know what I mean?
Right. But yeah, I'm like I said, I don't know too much about that Scott Sigmon, the guy he's fighting. So I feel like Roy has enough to beat this guy, though. And that's like I said, just hope he pulls it off, man. Anything else you want to say about this one, man?
Where's the fight taking place at? And what state?
Actually taking place in his hometown, Pensacola, Florida.
Wow.
This is where so it might be, and that was another thing I wanted to bring up. I mean, it might really be, this might be it, man. He's closing that chapter because it's taking place at the Civic Center in Pensacola, Florida. Hometown.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, man. But
we wish him best of luck, Ant. Come fight night.
Oh yeah, always, man. Gotta wish good luck to him. Good luck to Roy on that, man. So yeah, man. You brought up earlier to me about Terence Crawford and his little altercation with Jose Benavidez, man. If you want, man, why don't you pull up the video now and then tell me what you think of it, man? It ain't that long. Let me see. Cause yeah, I seen it, and you saw I already posted about it, and
I'll pull up now.
Okay.
All right. Because it seemed like I tried to watch it one time, but the quality of that video I tried to watch wasn't that good. So this one looked pretty good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just in their little brief exchange, it was just like you could tell there must be some history behind it. They really don't like each other, man.
All right, come on.
Was that all of it? Oops. Let me see. Yo, yeah. All right, hold on for a second. Let me try to resend the invite. All right, you see it?